and greetings from Heidelberg. Today we're showing you around this charming and historic university town situated in southwestern Germany. This was the final stopover trip across Germany, and while we only had 3 days here, we still managed to cover a lot of the main attractions in the old town. In this video, we'll be touring the ruins of Heidelberg Castle and exploring some of its gems, which include an enormous wine barrel and the Apothecary Museum. We'll wander through Heidelberg University, which happens to be the oldest university in all of Germany, and at one point had an infamous student jail. Plus, we'll hike the Philosopher's Way for epic sunset views, we'll stroll along the banks of the Neckar River, and we'll enjoy some hearty German and international dishes along the way, because you already know how much we love food. So if this sounds like your idea of a good time, we invite you to hit that subscribe button and join us on this tour for some fun ideas of things to do in Heidelberg. So let's start this tour with a visit to the city's best-known attraction, Heidelberg Castle, or rather, its ruins. The red sandstone ruins of Heidelberg Castle sit on the side of a hill on the south side of the Neckar River. You can take a funicular to reach the top, but we decided to walk up. The earliest castle structure dates back from before 1214, with multiple expansions that came with each new ruler. In 1537, the upper castle was destroyed by a lightning bolt, and that was followed by more damage due to fires and wars. And then, if you can possibly believe it, lightning struck again in 1764, causing another fire which destroyed some of the rebuilt sections. So yeah, this castle has been through a lot, and that's why it currently sits in ruins.
All right, Samuel, we made it to the Schloss.
The Schloss. Heidelberg's most famous attraction, of course, is the castle. And we ended up walking up here.
Yeah.
Easiest castle walk of our trip. We've been up some pretty steep ones, so we decided to walk up. Amazing path to get up there. And then as soon as you enter, you have the option of paying €9 for a self-guided tour, which we did, or it's an additional $6.
If you want to join an official tour guide.
Where you get an audio guide and everything,
Yeah.
and we're like, nah.
I will mention the only way to see the interior of the castle is with a guided tour.
Yeah.
So we're only seeing the courtyard.
Exactly. So the first thing you notice when you get right up to the top of the castle is the intricate details, the facade. It's very impressive.
It's pink.
It's pink. It sure is. It kind of reminds me, this is weird, but it sort of reminds me a little bit of Jaipur in India, some of the pink fortresses there. We started off at the viewing platform for the best views of the city, and then we came in and toured the castle itself. There were two really interesting things to do. The first was going to the pharmacy museum.
Yes, the apothecary.
Yeah, and it's like almost like traveling back in time to a period of alchemy. All the different bottles and the powders and the measuring instruments. All very fascinating.
So let's talk about the Pharmacy Museum, also known as the German Apothecary Museum. This is a really cool museum that's located within the castle complex, and it offers a look at pharmaceutics from the early Middle Ages to the early modern age. Here you can see all sorts of substances that were used as remedies. One curiosity is that in the 16th century, pulverized mummies were seen as a highly valued remedy, and they were used to treat ailments ranging from a cough to a broken heart. So let's be thankful for advancements in science.
Hello. Hello.
And now let's jump to another impressive attraction in the castle, the Heidelberg Tun. This enormous wine barrel can hold 221,726 liters of wine, and it reportedly required 130 oak trees for its construction. Access was closed on the day we visited, and it was kind of hard to film behind the glass doors, but it was massive.
And then we went to see the biggest barrel of wine.
Yes.
And we thought it was the first one that we saw, but no, that was huge. But then there's the actual biggest one is behind glass. And it's so enormous that you have to look at the staircase next to it to get an appreciation of just how big it is. So yeah, overall we had a really good time at the castle. There's plenty to do, and yeah, you can budget a few hours here. There's also a Michelin star restaurant that wasn't open. We didn't visit that, but there's plenty to do up here. So it is the main thing to do in Heidelberg. Come check it out.
We then spent a bit of time strolling through the castle gardens. Here you can see some rather unusual sculptures like this three-legged Trojan horse. Plus, there's also a really nice lookout point if you haven't had your fill of Old Town views. While we were exploring the Old Town, we also visited the Church of the Holy Spirit, which is the largest and most famous church in Heidelberg. This church is located in the market square in the Old Town center, and it can be seen from numerous vantage points across the city. Inside, the church features towering red sandstone columns and lots of stained glass windows, which makes it feel quite bright inside. Another nice thing to do in Heidelberg is to go for a walk along the banks of the Neckar River, which is lined with mansions and villas. The north side has a nice green area where lots of people go to lounge, enjoy the sun, and even have a picnic. And for a sunset activity, you can't miss a walk across the old bridge where there's usually some live music. We then strolled up the Philosopher's Way for city views featuring Heidelberg Castle set aglow with that soft golden light. We are beginning our walk up the Philosopher's Way.
Yes, we finally got rid of the crowds. Busy on a Saturday, I'll tell you.
It sure is.
I tell you, it's
And
busy.
we are on the path to enlightenment.
Yeah.
Up this hill.
Apparently there were vineyards in the past.
Yes.
Yes, I read about that.
Used to run through vineyards, and it's named the Philosopher's Way because many philosophers and professors used to meander here on their way to the university, the old town.
It's fascinating. It's very narrow.
Very
There's
narrow.
no one else at the moment. Actually, as soon as I said that, there are people coming, but there was nobody.
Single file now.
Yeah.
How are you finding it? Steep? Okay. Is he in shape for this?
Well, we have been hiking for a while, so yeah, it's not so bad. And we also might, if we get enough exercise in, we might have some Korean food tonight. We saw a Korean restaurant on the way here, and we're like, yeah, we're craving that. So, yeah, maybe we'll earn our supper.
Well, we made it to a lookout. We've got the church bells going off.
We do.
How's it?
How's it? It's fantastic. The view from here is the best we've got of the city so far. Just an incredible view of the old town, the castle up on the hill, the dominant cathedral in the center of the square, and just the old architecture. Yeah, it's a fantastic view, and we're earning that meal.
And that golden light.
And that golden, delicious dulsat bibimbap.
So every once in a while we get a hankering to eat some Korean food after all that time living there, and today is one of those days.
Yeah.
So don't judge us harshly for not having German food. We have been in
coming up.
Germany for a month now.
Coming up, don't worry.
It really is. So yeah, we randomly stumbled upon a Korean restaurant just down the street from the main cathedral. So I got some sundubu jjigae. Haven't had this in forever, so I'm beyond excited. A beautiful banchan.
Look at the banchan.
Look at the spread.
Oh, and I've got the dulsat bibimbap.
things.
All the things
So
necessary
good.
for a happy life. Right in front of us. How's it? Authentic.
It's so good. This is the real deal. It's taking me right back to Korea. A right level of spice.
Oh, perfect.
Right texture of tofu.
Love how they bring the spice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Especially with the banchan. I started coughing with one of those.
That gives me confidence that I'm going to have lots of gochujang in mine. So, thumbs up. Delish.
Super.
All right, Sam, tell us about your dish.
So pumped for this, guys. This is the dolsad bibimbap, the stone pot rice. My favorite Korean dish. And it comes with an egg that I break up and a whole bunch of different vegetable ingredients. Very colorful, very delightful. The only thing left to do is to mix it up. That is what the dish calls for. So, and they brought the gochujang.
Gochujang. Add that spice in there.
I'm gonna put that on the whole thing. Kidding me? I'm gonna put that on like there's no tomorrow.
We each definitely have our go-to dishes when it comes to Korean food.
It's funny, you usually get your sundubu jjigae, and I tend to go for this. We love tons of other Korean food too, but when we haven't had it for a while, this is what we tend to order.
Ooh, looks good.
Oh yeah, that's the real deal.
Awesome.
I'm in my happy place. Hey. Night and day, comparing Saturday and Sunday with today being Monday. On the weekend, the center of town was absolutely packed. It was actually so crowded that I don't think I really got to appreciate just how beautiful and charming this part of town is. I mean, all the old architecture, the facades of the buildings, the intricate details. I'm only appreciating them actually today. I wasn't able to on the weekend with the crowds. But today it just feels like we're kind of exploring this part of the town. We won't have it all to ourselves, but there's hardly anyone here.
While we were wandering around the old town, we also visited the Jesuit Church, which was built in the Baroque style from 1712 to 1759. The church has served many purposes over the years. It's been a military hospital, a university library, as well as an actual church. We were lucky enough to visit when organ practice was taking place, so we also got to enjoy a bit of the music. Did you know that Heidelberg University is not only Germany's oldest university, but also one of the world's oldest surviving universities? Well, now you do. This university was founded in the year 1386 during the time of the Holy Roman Empire, and that alone is reason to visit. But now, for a rather unusual attraction, let's talk about Heidelberg University's student prison. That's right. Dating back to the 1780s, this prison was a way of punishing students for misdemeanors, and it was in operation until 1914. Apparently, during the last few decades of its operation, it became a bit of a joke, and students would purposely try to land in the student jail as a rite of passage and a way to immortalize themselves on the walls. They would also invite their friends to visit and host jail parties. So yeah, it was eventually shut down. I don't know what I thought a student prison would look like, but this certainly wasn't it. The place honestly felt more like a student art project, so if you're looking for some unique places to visit in Heidelberg, this one is worth adding to the list. Okay, so we just finished visiting the student jail here at the University of Heidelberg. Obviously, the jail is no longer active, it is no longer in use, but there was a time when the naughty students could get thrown in there for things like dueling,
Yes.
or perhaps getting a little rowdy and singing in the middle of the night.
I mean, as one does duels.
As one does duels.
I love how it's singing. It's like, you're so annoying.
Yes.
You're going in jail for singing.
Probably like some drunk, rowdy
I
behavior.
bet if we were to sing, we would have been put in jail.
Yeah.
Neither of us can sing a tune, can we?
But yeah, it's a really cool place. If you want to visit, it's €3 per person.
Yeah.
And you just go into the university bookstore and you can pay for your ticket there. And then you get a 10-minute time slot. And you can just go up, look around. Lots of cool graffiti.
Yes, that building, it looks like it could be in Berlin, to be honest,
Yeah.
with the graffiti. Yeah, it looks like it belongs in Berlin. And
Yeah.
it's fascinating. I just enjoyed, you have to look up to the ceilings too. There's just graffiti everywhere. It's cool how they kept some of the old bed frames.
Yes.
And we also noticed the old pot toilet. Lift the
lift
lid.
the lid and go.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
to be honest, 10 minutes is enough to see it.
Yeah.
So, and it's definitely worth it. I think it's a neat, quirky attraction, and it kind of gives you something really interesting to do here in the city. So definitely recommend it.
Yeah, and I think it's even better if you can read German, because then you can actually read the little messages the students left behind
There
and
you
some
go.
of their poetry.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately we couldn't appreciate that, but we did find it interesting though, and that was cool. 10-minute
was.
attraction, guys.
There you go.
Well, we're wandering around
Yeah.
the old campus here.
We couldn't help but notice when we purchased the tickets to go in the jail, which also happens to be like the official university store, there was a cap that said 1386, and that is how old this university is.
Yes.
It's quite amazing. What I really like about the campus is how they've integrated some of the older buildings with some more modern ones right beside it. They've done a really tasteful job of that. And it's just been fascinating to see how a campus is just like right in the heart of a town. It's so different from Canada, where campuses usually are on the outskirts. They're not right in the central area. Imagine being a student here, being that close to where all the action is.
One restaurant we really enjoyed in Heidelberg was Hackteufel. This place had a super warm and cozy feel, and after wandering around in the cold, we were ready for a hearty meal. Alright guys, so I'm trying a new to me dish. This is called Maultaschen, and it was described as a giant ravioli. It kind of almost looks like a bit of a lasagna, like there's dough and there's meat and there's bacon and an onion sauce.
We're in a really cool restaurant, aren't we? It's very rustic inside, rustic pub feel. Love the way it's decorated here.
Lots of antiques and musical instruments. It's very cool.
Vintage photos,
Yeah,
vintage
great meal.
porcelain. Yeah,
I would call it like a German meatloaf.
it's like a German meatloaf.
German meatloaf, yeah.
Very cool.
And then came with potato salad
Yeah.
and a real salad.
Same with mine. So I'm really excited about my main. I'm having the cheese dumpling. Never had that before. So it's 3 of them with a bed of onions on top.
Nice.
Let's cut those open. Oh, wow. You can see the cheese right here.
La
And
la.
it has a gravy that you can dunk it into.
Dunk it in, my friend. How is that?
It's so delicious. It's kind of crispy, the dumplings on the outside, mushy in the middle, really cheesy. And it's a really thick, rich gravy, so I love it. And it's perfect because today's the coldest day that we've been in Germany, and we need some hearty food to brave the weather.
Another popular thing to do in Heidelberg is to try the student kiss. This is a chocolate that was invented in the city, and it consists of a praline nougat chocolate filling on a wafer coated in delicious dark chocolate. This chocolate was a way for couples to exchange a token of affection without breaking any social protocols in front of a chaperone back in the day. The chocolate originated in Café Knösel, but you can also get them at a chocolate shop called Heidelberger Studentenkuss. Lastly, we visited the Botanical Garden of Heidelberg University, which was founded in the year 1593, making it one of the oldest botanical gardens in Germany. The greenhouse sadly wasn't open to the public when we got there, so we can't show you very much, but if you do decide to visit, the garden is located in the new campus on the north side of the river, so it does involve a bus ride.
So you may be wondering how we got around when we stayed here in Heidelberg, and kind of like the theme of this entire trip to Germany, we ended up getting the passes. But unlike other places where we got week-long passes, what they offered here were €5 per person per day passes. And so we were here for several days and we just had these individual cards, and so that gave us access to the buses, the trams, and we used them. And that also allowed us to stay on the outskirts of the city and take the bus or the tram into the old part of the town and save our legs. So we definitely recommend this, especially if you're not staying right in the heart of the city.
Yeah, and especially if you're doing multiple trips a day and you don't want to pay individually over and over again.
Yeah, you save so much money and time getting these things. They're just, I can't recommend them more.
And that's it for our Heidelberg travel guide. We hope you had fun exploring the place with us. If you enjoyed this video, we invite you to give it a like and hit that subscribe button. And as always, if you have any other suggestions of things to do in Heidelberg that you'd like to share with fellow travelers, feel free to leave those in the comments section below. Thanks again for watching. Tschüss!